Welcome to the I Am Symposium. And our first guest today is Debra Koff-Chapin. And she's been instrumental in my life long before we ever met, because she's the inventor of the soul cards that I've been using for, I don't know, the last 10 or 15 years to inform my clients and inform people of what their soul's calling them to do. I was never one who was very much interested in telling you, oh, you're going to meet somebody next week or what, unless it was in relationship to what your soul's deepest desire. And so when I found her cards, they just so resonated with that element of soul speak. Let me give you her formal bio. Debra Koff-Chapin, BFA, Cooper Union, is an artist, vocalist, author, ceremonialist, and facilitator. She has been developing the process of touch drawing since she came upon it in revelatory play in 1974. Through her years of touch drawing, Deborah has tapped into universal level of human soul. Deborah is creator of the best-selling deck Soul Cards 1 and 2, and author of Drawing Out Your Soul and the Touch Drawing Facilitator Workbook. She encourages the dissemination of touch drawing worldwide through workshops, media, and online community. Deborah's newest project is the series of 5 Soul Touch coloring journals. Deborah is the founding director of the Center of Touch Drawing and has convened the annual Touch Drawing Gathering since 1997. She has presented in numerous locations, including Esalen Omega Institute, California Institute of Integral Studies, and the International Expressive Arts Therapy Association. Deborah has been an interpretive artist at many conferences, including the Parliament of World Religion, Findhorn's New Story Summit, and Seeds of Compassion with the Dalai Lama. Deborah and her husband, Ross, co-founded the Island Long Dance Circle in 1983. They have continued to meet quarterly since that time. Wow. We're really excited to have you here.
It's wonderful to be here. Hi.
Hi, now you're in the spotlight.
I see that, yeah.
Thank you so much for opening up this I Am Winter Solstice Symposium. It just seems so fitting that my long-standing relationship with your soul cards has relevance to, my wind work, which I didn't know back then that you were on an island, that I was going to end up on the same island, and that the wind was going to speak to me on that island in our both of our favorite places.
Yeah.
Out at Evie's Landing, and if you've never been to Evie's Landing, stay away.
Don't tell anyone about it, right?
Right. We don't want any more. California's crowded. We like it up there the way it is. And
but I've got a lot of favorite places. So anyway,
I know. Well, the old tree, Today, Deborah's going to do something really exciting. Do you want to tell us about it?
Renee and I have been going back and forth about how to do this sharing. And it's been a very alive process, which is what I love about it. It's not been a kind of a rote thing. We are experimenting for the first time with having me do touch drawing onto the screen so you can all see the touch drawing happen as an expression of the moment created just for us.
Tell people what touch drawing is. They might not know.
Okay, well, it's a way of drawing with your fingertips. You're going to see me rolling. I've already pre-rolled my board, but maybe you can go to the screen and I can, I hope you can still hear me. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you. We're good.
Perfect. All right. This is a real, high-tech thing where we have 2 screens going. It's very exciting. It's the first time for both of us. So here you've got the drawing board. It's actually a piece of plexiglass that I have drawn on thousands of times, really thousands of drawings on this one piece of plexi. So this is just old layers of ink. I already put the blobs on, but you'll see now that I'm going to smooth it over one time so you understand that it's just sort of wet, smooth ink on the board. And so what I do is, onto this wet ink, I place a piece of paper, and then I take a moment to just come to center, empty, and listen for what is the impulse that's moving in this moment. And when I feel that something beginning, I touch my fingertips to the paper. And I'm going to be doing this in a real way, not a sort of a demo way, because that's our intention for this session. And I somehow can't just do a quick demo. So, and I know that I want to draw a face. I have that level of intention. Other drawings might happen. We're going to do a few, but that's about all I know. So I'm going to begin with how I feel inside my face right now. What are the energetics that are sort of moving into me? And as I feel them, I'm moving my fingertips. You can, on the board, if you can hear that little sound, I'm tracing around. I started around my face. I'm tracing around from my eyebrows. And I'm moving with a sense of energetics around my own face, but it's as if I come into communion with a presence as I draw. And we'll see, I can never guarantee whether it's going to be truly alive or, just a demo. But our intention here is to be open to a real presence that wants to come through to be shared at this time. And I demonstrate for people, but usually they can't be so close, like right over the drawing board. So this is really, really a first time ever being able to share so intimately. And I've always wondered, how much will you see? Because the paper I use is a little thicker than the paper we use during workshops. But I am sort of sculpting this face into being through the touch of my fingernails and my fingertips.
I can see it.
You can see it. Good.
I can, yes.
You can. Wonderful. This answers questions I've thought about for too long and haven't actually tried. So it's really an honor, Renee, to be just doing this sort of real for the first time ever with you and this whole community.
And it is a big community we're holding space with today.
Pretty amazing. I'll tell you, it's needed. If I can offer touch drawing and allow something more and bigger to start coming through, this will be the start of that. And actually, I had this conversation with a mentor just this week about how it's time for me to really use it this way. And I wasn't even thinking how I already had this set up to do. So here we go.
Wow. I have to put my glasses on for this. Very cool. How do you feel about that one? Was that a demo?
I feel like there is something interesting there.
Good.
And so the thing about touch drawing is that it's a process. And each drawing takes you deeper. I mean, I'm not the only person who does this. I teach this. And I find that it really does, the process itself opens a portal to soul levels and to more subtle levels of consciousness and presences.
And
so I roll in between. What?
I said, I've been lucky. I've been to one of her international touch drawing gatherings, and I would highly recommend everyone do that once in their life at least.
We only have room for so many, so it's going to open sometime in January for registration. So our feeling here was to have you know, a lot of the focus be doing drawing, and we can have this conversation about the process and the times. You know, obviously we are in, you know, intensifying cultural and planetary times. And if there's any ways that we can use our gifts and our skills and our creative abilities to serve the possibility of the deeper blessings of these challenges to emerge, I'm feeling the calling to that now, and I imagine there's many others as well. So I'm going to just see what being and what presence wants to come through right now. And so the first thing that I'm feeling, I'll talk through the sense that I work from. I'm feeling like in my forehead, this solar disc shape. That's all I feel. It's not like I'm seeing a whole thing. For me, it's a very somatic way. So I'm just going to draw that shape that I'm feeling. And I'm going to just see, how does it radiate? And sometimes I go like, oh, I don't know if that's really what I felt, but I just keep going and I trust. And if you don't mind being patient with me being real, so one of the things about this is a sense of trusting and going into the unknown. And so there's a lot about the process that can be a helpful practice for life. And if I do something that feels a little awkward and not like as on as I wanted, I don't give up. I just keep going and get back into trusting the process. And then it's okay if some of them are more, you know, plugged in, or some of them look more like a good drawing than others, because it's the flow of the process that gets me feeling tuned in. So each drawing, yay. Well, I am really wanting to explore how to do a touch drawing workshop online where people
you're doing it.
Yeah.
She's exploring it. It's great.
We're exploring. This is really a first, something I've thought about too much. You know, you got to finally just do it.
There's nothing like the winds of spirit to help you just do things.
All right, that's it. Well, they're helping me then. Thank you, Renee. That's your work. That's your work.
Maybe the next one I'll blow the wind whistle and you can draw to that and see what happens.
Oh, I love it. I love it. See, we are totally winging this, and that's what I love about it. Is that we're listening to the moment, and what comes up, it wasn't pre-planned. All we knew was that we're going to really focus on drawing and offering this as some kind of blessing.
Especially because it's time to go inward. You know, we've put so much energy out into the universe during this season, especially feeling like we need to go to this party and that party and everywhere. And we really need to go in. The in is the answer at this moment right now.
I know.
Because I believe if we all come back to our creative center, then we'll be minding our own business and we'll be doing the right things in the world to make those changes that we're all hopeful about having in the 2018 and beyond. Love it.
Now, why don't you get your wind whistle?
I have it right here.
See, what I'm doing now is I'm erasing past. That's one of the beauties of touch drawing. It's really a practice of being in the present. I'm erasing the tracings of the last drawing. So I use this as a moment to just come back to the present. And if I don't roll it, the past is just going to show through on the next drawing. There's not, like, sometimes I actually do that and use that, but this rolling in between the drawings, I think, is a wonderful part of the overall process of touch drawing.
And the community she sets when she does her international touch drawings, she brings in a sacred space so that everybody's creativity amplifies in that setting. And you do that so beautifully. I want to honor you for that.
Thank you, Renee. It's the greatest blessing in my life to hold space for, it's a sacred space, and it's a, you know, a ritual. Creativity is, you know, the birth of all creative art was in ritual way, way back. That's how the arts emerged. They emerged out of creative ritual space. So we're creating new forms now that tap into that authentic creative process.
And
so
truly, that's what the wind is about. You know, the wind was silent for 2,000 years, and now these wind spirits are here to help us, help reinform us so that we know what to do next.
all right.
Convinced. So the wind that I'm working with is Vegemate, and she's the Latvian wind mother of nourishment. So she brings in it that it's a time to replenish. So let's call to her energy for this next drawing. How does that sound for you?
Wonderful. I'm there.
All right.
So this time I felt this energy in my, sort of in my lower Tontian belly area. When, even before, as soon as you started talking about her, before you even started blowing, I could feel that. And so instead of drawing a face, I'm drawing this torso with the energetics that I felt while you're evoking Vegemate.
I have to feel the energy from that drawing from here.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing about doing more than one drawing. As we go, it gets more and more, get more in sync. It's just like, you know, when you stay with something, we get warmed up and we can go deeper and deeper with it.
Look at that guttural feeling, that, you know, that how we're so longing for that nourishment. What nourishes you? That's what I see there. What do you see in there? Do you, that it's a calling from so deep in our bellies that we need that mothering of ourselves, and you know, to get it from tending to the earth, or where you get that from. And as you go deeper into the solstice, how to lighten yourself up from the inside by sounding and releasing, and, you know, even going out on the mountaintop, giving yourself to the wind, and, you know, letting out that ah.
Yeah, it definitely was that mouth, that feeling. I mean, first it was a feeling in my belly, like this rising up fullness, kind of rising out of the belly, and then it wanted to rise and come out the mouth. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll have to do a little sounding. How beautiful that is. So, do you want to tell people a little bit about yourself, and so that they know about you? Or
okay, I'll do it, you know, as I'm rolling, we'll kind of talk. I love having the drawing be more central, but yeah, I've been doing, touch drawing came to me in 1974. And are you back on my face again now?
No, I'm not. Would you like me to get on your face?
Probably be nice to do that. So go back and forth. So it's not always just the board.
Okay.
Draw again. We can go back to that. But touch drawing came to me in 1974. Was my last day of my last year in art school in New York City. I was in a soul process of trying to get back in touch with something that felt real, that maybe I felt more in touch with before I went to art school, because art school can be challenging. It doesn't always help people in the creative process, because there's so many things coming from the outside telling us how, you know, whatever is in vogue at the time or at that school to do that. So I'd gone on that journey in art school, and something in me in the last year was searching, was like, what's I want to find something more natural, more real. And there were seed events that I realized later. And I do have a video on my website that really tells the story with some images if people want to see that on my website. But they were seeds. I know that there were seeds. It wasn't just an accident that touch drawing happened, but it was in the print shop on my last day of school. I mean, it was the last day the studios were open on my last year of school. So I think the universe set that up in some cosmic way, the timing. And someone asked me to help clean up. I hadn't actually spent time in the print shop. The someone was someone who definitely was a soul catalyst in my life. It wasn't just anyone. And so I think that was set up by the universe, however those things happen. And so when I went to, here, I'm going to take a little piece of tissue paper. Maybe we go back onto the board again now. And so they have these pieces of glass, and he asked me to that have ink rolled so they can get their rollers full of paint. So I put a paper towel down. I was just about to wipe with a paper towel. And it's a longer story in detail, but basically I decided to play instead of wipe. Instead of do the thing that was told to me, there was an impulse to play. And so I just moved my hands in the back of the paper towel, just kind of like that. You know, like da-da-da-da-da-da. I picked it up. This is for those of you who got a little afraid when I did the faces and said you can't draw. This is how I started touch drawing. Just scribbles like that. This kind of natural mark of my fingertips was a complete revelation. That these lines were coming directly out of my body. Remember, I was searching for a more natural way to create. These lines came directly. They are natural human hand marks just imprinted onto the paper. And energetically, when I touched the board and moved my fingers and lifted it, it was like it unplugged my fingertips. And when my fingertips were unplugged, my head got unplugged also. So there was enormous rush of energy through me and out through my fingertips. And so I started laughing hysterically, crawling around the floor, picking up more paper towels, doing more drawing, and laughing. And I'd been such an overly serious student actually all that time that it was a real contrast to who I had been in terms of even my identity. And I haven't counted. I still have the paper towels. I probably did 40, 50 paper towel drawings. After doing lots of scribbles, they started looking like trees. They started looking like nature was just coming right through my hands. And then I started realizing, you go back to the screen again. And I'm going to just do one if you show me my fingertips again.
She's a great director. Look at her. She's already got this internet thing down.
We got this screen thing. This is very exciting. And so I went, like that. I could show you my first ones. I can't do it real like I did it then. I can only be real the way I am now. But it was just like this, just like a little faces. Little silly, cartoony faces started coming through my hands. And they were different characters, and they had, expressions. And so I did a big pile of these faces, and then I realized it's almost like these beings could come directly through me onto the paper. So at the same time that it was completely playful and childlike, and I knew that there was some power to the pure childlikeness of it, I really got the value of being able to have a childlike experience that was pure. And at the same time, it was not just play. The sense was that this process existed someplace outside of cultural living human time. I was 22 years old, just turned 22. I didn't have any concepts, but it felt like it was coming from someplace that would seed things into human culture at different times, and that this seed was being dropped into me, and then I was supposed to share it because it was for the future. It was a creative process that had to do with the evolution of human consciousness, and that I was to just offer and plant the seed so this process could live and express a more subtle, fluid consciousness that in the future we were growing into.
Oh, beautiful.
I didn't have the language for it, but I had the knowing of that, all while I was laughing hysterically and crawling around the floor and doing more. It was playful, and yet it was like, whoa. That's why in my little bio it says revelatory play. That's my language for revelation and playfulness at the same time. And my friend, who had asked me to clean up, who definitely had some cosmic view of the universe, I think, in his own being. We have not, it's been many years since we were in touch. But he just sat in the far corner of the room. And later on, I said, do you want to see the drawings? And he said, no, I saw the energy. That was enough.
How great is that?
And that was actually his lesson to me, that really the drawings were not so important. I was maybe a little too attached in my identity to what was created, and that the energetic of it was really what was important. And that's what I try and tell people in workshops. We love creating images. That's a very satisfying, it's a human trait to want to create, and it's very fulfilling. But the actual, the more important thing that they're working on creating is the state of our own soul. So as we're doing touch drawing, and as we're in this field of a touch drawing workshop, we're actually sculpting our souls. And that's what I realized once I was doing touch drawing for a little while. I got it. I really got it, that while I was drawing, I was sculpting my soul. And so I could go through all these contortions and shapes in my psyche, and each one would take me to the next, almost like I would turn into a piece of clay, while I'm drawing. And the drawing process helped me keep changing shape. And I'd be sculpting myself often. In those early days, it was releasing challenging feelings. I mean, touch drawing kept me from flipping out. really. It was my grounding point. I was in New York City, 1974. Now I hear people talk about New York City in the early 70s and how it was like the worst time. I mean, I didn't know that, but I wander around just kind of listening to my intuition and things like that. Very raw, not quite grounded. And when I feel a little bit like I couldn't handle it, I would just go home. I would release all that energy through drawing these very raw and primal faces, really a lot of faces back then, and just sit and draw and draw and draw. And as I drew, I could feel the release and the transformation of my own being. And then I would look at the drawings. I'd put them on the wall, this whole series, and it was almost like an animation of my psyche put into form. On paper, and I just kind of sit and watch how I had changed. And so I really encourage people in workshops to not get too caught up in what the picture looks like, because you're going to do touch drawing more real if you're not worried about that. In the end, people usually surprise themselves with what they can do. But if you're trying to do a picture that you like, that's what it's going to be. A picture that I tried to do is going to express that. But if you really let go and let yourself, say, scribble and release and do whatever you need to do, sometimes it's just scratch the board until the paper tears. You're doing a lot of energy work when you do that. Just do that. If you do a whole drawing session of that, look at all the points and all the energetics of our fingertips that are opening up and releasing. You are actually doing energy work, and you have a record of your energy work. And I could guarantee you, if you think you're just scribbling the whole time and not trying to make pictures, you're still going to be having a really interesting, transformative process. If you do one drawing after another, these are energetic expressions, the expressions of your energy in the moment. And so you lay one, you do it, you don't think about it, you do a quick little roll on the board. And then you do another. See, now I'm working on the thinner paper that I use for workshops, just because it's a little more sensitive. You don't need to use as much pressure. So this is the paper we use in a workshop. And let's just see what wants to happen now. It's not my usual paper for my bringing through, but I'm gonna just see what wants to happen.
Deborah, how can people find you? Like, what's your website that they...
The website is really simple. It's touchdrawing.com. And on the website, you can find your way to soul cards. We have soul card e-cards. You can send the soul card as a, choose an image. There's a lot of other images besides the soul card images available. There are videos about touch drawing, showing the story of touch drawing, lots of reports of other people doing touch drawing. So there's three areas. There's all about touch drawing, and then there's soul cards, and lots of things with soul cards, and then also just a section with other, you can see lots more of my art, lots more of my own images. So it's a very...
I'm sorry.
Yeah?
What is this image going to tell us about the solstice as we move forward with this this I Am Winter Solstice Symposium? You're like the beginning of 17 days. How great that we get to start with this.
I know. Well, I'm not, when I do it, I'm not thinking, I'm just trying to do what feels true right now. What feels true right now?
So this is the image he's going to leave us with for our solstice, with all those other ones too, but
right.
This is our invitation inward. And she didn't even know it. And for those at home who are watching, this is one of our longer sessions because it really takes a little bit more to get into your soul and do these drawings. A lot of these inspirations will be shorter over the next 17 days, but this one was so magical. I wanted to definitely begin with it to get us launched into our soul work. Oh. What a very interesting series you got going on here, Deborah.
Mm.
We're going to end with
So
this.
I would just be with his presence almost like it's an inner mirror. What does this drop forth in you?
I really want to thank you for sharing your abilities and your talents and your soul with us today.
It's really a gift, Renee, and I feel like you've been holding this whole series with such integrity and authenticity. And you brought me into a new level of my work to make it available in this way. And we went back and forth. You had such patience as we were playing with ideas. Thank you so much. It's a blessing to be a part of this.
Thank you. And I'll put it back on me. And everybody at home, I mean, just imagine if this is the start, where we're going over the next 17 days. And I'm so thrilled for Deborah and all of the other friends of mine who have agreed to come about and be part of this Winds of Spirit. When she was talking about seeds, I feel the same way about the Winds of Spirit. It's something that's opened up in me that I'm going to get to share with the rest of the world and move some energy around. So thank you so much, Deborah, for being here today.
Thank you so much, Renee, and everybody else. And I look forward to also being part of the other sessions as they come along.
Great.
Thank you for listening in. Yeah.
I'm going back to your picture.
Okay.